a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, here where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here with us Monday through Friday for between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here with you. We thank you for your patience here this morning as we get set and ready for some awesome guests coming up on the broadcast today. Very excited here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to have the opportunity to speak with so many wonderful people all throughout the year and all throughout the many years here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Over 5,000 guests. I've lost track at this point, but very happy to have all of the amazing voices that we've been able to have here on the show. We're going to start things off here inside of MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. In about 15 minutes, Cole Burgess is going to be joining us. SUNY Cortland wide receiver for the Red Dragons. 2023-24 national, I'm going to say it again, national champion, and a draft prospect in the 2024 NFL Draft, which begins tomorrow night. We will go from that conversation with Cole Burgess to my conversation with Jason Lucas, who has spent many years in the sports and entertainment world. My great buddy will be joining me to speak on the NFL Draft coming up, like I said, this Thursday and Friday, Saturday, for round 1 on Thursday, round 2 and 3 on Friday, and on Saturday, rounds 4 through 7. And then we'll round out today's broadcast with AD and DT featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. You know Wednesdays are Dolphin time, and Dolphin time is 9 a.m., but we had to flip the script here as we are going to have Bob come on live. And in order to do that, we had to put it toward the tail end of the show instead of the beginning today due to scheduling. So Bob will be joining me at 10:45 a.m. Eastern Time to speak on the successes of LeMoyne women's lacrosse and LeMoyne baseball in their return to Division I. They are the only two programs in LeMoyne history that have Division I experience as a D1 program. And so with this move for LeMoyne to be a fully fledged Division I institution in the NCAA, that meant the return of women's lacrosse and baseball to Division I. The only two programs that were returning to D1, all the other programs at LeMoyne becoming D1 for the first time. So we'll speak on the successes of spring sports and what LeMoyne women's lacrosse as well as what LeMoyne baseball are doing as they step forward here where sports truly meets that thing called life. You're with us on all of our channels here this morning. Of course, you're getting us on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So however you're tuning into the show, wherever you are around the country and the world, we thank you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and spending some time with us and making us a part of your morning Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Once the shows go live, you could jump into the archive and hang out with us there as well. All you have to do is go to any one of your favorite podcasting platforms. We are on so many of them by the wonderful, wonderful welcoming that we've had from each of these apps: Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, as well as Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do on any one of these outlets is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. So however you're connecting with us, we thank you so much for tuning in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and having fun with us Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, as well as joining us at your leisure when you go to these apps. And on Podbean alone, we feature over 1,600 episodes dating back over a decade. So make sure you go and check out where sports meets life on all of these wonderful outlets. And I thank you so much for being with us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. It absolutely, positively means the world to me. So thank you for your support, and thank you for being here where sports meets life. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we're going to jump into, so obviously you're talking the NFL draft, and there's a lot of things going on here. It's going to be, the draft will officially be starting tomorrow night, as I stated, and I'm ecstatic for it. We got an awesome show coming up for you We were just at Pizza Man last night with the boys lacrosse team, and you can go back and watch those videos on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. And of course, we're going to be back there tomorrow night for the NFL draft. Al Romano and I will be off the rails with Al. That's right. Off the Rails with Al, a product of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, will be coming to you tomorrow night as Al Romano, national champion with the Pitt Panthers and a native of Solvay, New York. He will be joining me on stage at Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville, New York for our first round mock draft live. That'll be Thursday, April 25th at 6 p.m. The draft will officially begin at 8 p.m. So we will have the opportunity to be with you at 6 o'clock, bringing you through the draft and who we think is going to go where, and then you'll see the draft itself. So we'll bring you right into it. It's something that we've done for the last few years here. This will be year 3 in a row of our NFL live mock draft on the night of the draft, and I'm ecstatic to be able to do this. I'm very much looking forward to it. We have a lot of fun every single year, and I thought to myself, I always try to think from the perspective of the listener or the viewer. I've watched the draft so many times. I mean, in 38 years, I've watched it since I was a little kid. So many years, decades. But I never got to go to a live mock draft show where I could walk up and shake the hands of the people that are doing the mock draft and eat dinner while watching them as opposed to watching a screen of somebody thousands of miles away. So I wanted to do something different and unique, have Al and I physically there, not in the studio, but going out to Pizza Man, sitting with you. I love being in the studio, but to go out and be with the people, which I like to do, as you know. Did it last night, doing it tonight at Heritage Hill North, and doing it tomorrow back at Pizza Man. I love being around people, love being able to share ideas, love being able to hear from the fans, and see if you agree, if you disagree, and we have fun with it. So we're going to go out to Pizza Man tomorrow night. We're going to mock draft, and I can't wait for it. I did say we're going to be somewhere else tonight, and we're making history tonight because we have never been to, and this place hasn't even been open 2 weeks. So we've never been out to Heritage Hill North to do a broadcast, and they're not even 2 weeks old. Now, Heritage Hill Brew House out in Pompey has been around for a while, and I was just up there a few weeks ago, and I love it up there. It's a beautiful view, awesome place. You know, the type of place where you can have a wedding reception and at the same time you can have a drink and some barbecue and hang out and have fun. Heritage Hill North, an extension of what Heritage Hill has already done in Pompey, is now in North Syracuse on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, New York. And we're going to be there tonight, right down the road from CNS. And we will be featuring the CNS North Stars boys lacrosse team. Head coach Chuck Wilbur and student athletes will be with me on site, on location at Heritage Hill North at 6:45 p.m. tonight, April 24th, to do a live broadcast. And it's going to be aired on all of our channels that you're on right now. So tonight at 6:45 p.m. on Wednesday, April 24th, we will be with you again on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt. We'll also be with you on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. So very excited to be able to have this opportunity with you and share that. So love being here with you this morning and ecstatic about being there with you tonight at Heritage Hill North. We look forward to you coming out and supporting the CNS North Stars, CNS as a whole, as a school, the North Stars athletic department, as well as supporting boys lacrosse. And I can't wait because Chuck Wilbur and I have known each other for a long time. We met when he was winning national championships at OCC as the head coach of the men's lacrosse team, and now to be able to sit in with him again. This is the first time we're going to be doing a show together in the same place since he was at OCC. So very excited about this and excited to see the student athletes and to celebrate the guys tonight. So we look forward to you coming out to Heritage Hill North on 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse at 6:45 p.m. tonight, Wednesday, April 24th, to celebrate the CNS North Stars boys lacrosse team. And, of course, like I said, we'll be broadcasting live on all the same channels we're on right now, so nobody has to miss it if you're unable to make it, or if you're somewhere, outside of the community and you physically can't be there, then we'll make sure we got you covered on Facebook, YouTube, and on Podbean. So, very excited and looking forward to it. Can't wait to see y'all tonight. With that being said, on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life, taking a look at some things that are going on right now. It is crazy to me to think about it being the NBA playoff time and Stanley Cup playoff time. That's so weird to me. It's so strange because to me it feels like it's so early, right? And it is. The NBA season and the NHL season, they seem to go by so fast. And I feel like the NBA season just started. I know it started like back in October, but it feels like it just started. And here we are. We got the Boston Celtics going up against the Miami Heat, the 1 against the 8. Boston is currently leading 1-0. We have the New York Knicks, the 2 seed. That's right, baby. The Knicks are back. The Philadelphia 76ers, the 7 seed. The Knicks lead 2-0 in that series. That brings me back to olden days, growing up as a kid and seeing the Knicks and the Sixers battling things out in the postseason. You got the Bucks, the 3 seed, tied with the Pacers, the 6 seed, 1-1. The Cleveland Cavaliers, the 4 seed, and talk about a team that's found their resurgence finally. See, when you're rebuilding, if you do things the right way, you might have some hiccups, you might have some trip-ups, but if you do things the right way, even when you're at the bottom of the barrel, you will eventually rise out of that. And the Orlando Magic have done that. They're the 5 seed, and they're currently down to the 4 seeded Cavs 2-0. But shout out to them for not only making the playoffs, but making it in the top 5 seeds. And then in the Western Conference, the Oklahoma City Thunder, talking about not staying down forever. They had Russell Westbrook. They don't anymore. They had Kevin Durant. They don't anymore. They had James Harden. They don't anymore. And, that team that used to all be together is different now. They're still the 1 seed in the West, though. They've risen all the way to the top. They lead the Pelicans, who are the 8 seed. They lead them 1-0. And then we take a look at the Denver Nuggets, who lead the Los Angeles Lakers, 2 seed over the 7 seed, 2-0. And then we have the Minnesota Timberwolves leading the Phoenix Suns, the 3 seed over the 6 seed, 2-0. Talk about that. All these teams, all these franchises that were at the bottom of the NBA, the Orlando Magic, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Knicks were having really bad years. The Oklahoma City Thunder might have been making the playoffs, but it wasn't the same. Look at how times have changed. Phoenix has been the 1 seed. They've been in the top couple seeds. They're the 6 seed now, and they're down 2-0 to Minnesota. And then the Clippers are tied with the Mavericks, 4 seed versus the 5 seed, 1-1. So a lot of good stuff coming up here. I can't believe it's already the postseason, though, for the NBA. But, alas, it is. And with that being said, we're going to jump into our first conversation of the day. And one of our trio of guests that are here with us this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we go picture in picture with Cole Burgess. Cole is from SUNY Cortland. He won a national championship with the Red Dragons here just a little while ago, and I was down in Florida watching the game with my dad. Was so excited to see SUNY Cortland not only make it to the championship game, but to get to watch that championship game with my father and go to sleep knowing that a game that was very offensive ended with some defensive stops and a huge defensive moment. So I'm here with Cole Burgess. I had the opportunity to meet him at Syracuse Pro Day, where other schools were allowed to come and work out in front of NFL teams, and this wide receiver is looking for an opportunity to hear his name called in the 2024 NFL Draft. So we bring him in. Cole, how we doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. And Cole, let's go back to that opportunity. The fact that Syracuse allowed other schools to come in. I know it's something that schools will do and give an opportunity for Pro Day to try and reach out to people in the community. What did it mean to you to have that invite from Syracuse to have another chance to get in front of the NFL?
It was cool, especially being a Cortland guy. Syracuse is the big school around, so to be able to go there and showcase my skills with the those D1 guys was it was definitely a cool experience.
And what was that when you look back at that experience, Cole? What did you take from it? What were like the biggest learning pieces, the biggest tools to put in your toolbox after that pro day? What'd you take from it?
Really just the confidence and knowing that I have the tools, like the physical attributes to hang with the D1 guys, the NFL prospects. So that was just good for my confidence to see that my numbers matched up with the best of them.
And there wasn't a lot of wide receivers out there. Syracuse didn't have a ton of guys in the wide receiver world going into this year's draft. So to be able to represent that way and to know that there was over 20 teams there of the 32 NFL franchises, and you get to be one of just a few, just a handful of wide receivers. How much did that mean to you to know that? I mean, there was going to be eyes on you no matter what, but definitely eyes on you with such a small room of receivers.
Yeah, I mean it was cool. I mean, me and JJ were two of the only, I think, 5 or 6 receivers there. So it was just cool for us to be there and just showcase our Division 3 skills. You know, the fact that we were both on the same team, I think it says a lot about Cortland. It says a lot about Division 3 that there's prospects at every level. You know, if you're good enough, they're gonna find you. And it was cool to have that spotlight on us running routes in front of, like you said, 20 something scouts. So it was definitely cool.
Yeah, and here with Cole Burgess, SUNY Cortland Red Dragons wide receiver. This has been probably in a way a little bit of a whirlwind for you because once things start going, they just kick up. And before you know it, it's the NFL draft. It's like your season ends, you're a national champion, you hoist the trophy, and then you start working out for the NFL draft. You do the pro day, and here we are a day away, almost 24 hours away from the draft itself. What have these couple months felt like in between winning a national championship to where we are right now?
Yeah, so we win the Natty, and then all the excitement that comes with that, and then I get home from school. I'm done with school, and I have holidays, Christmas, New Year's. So kind of life kind of slowed down. It was kind of normal then, and then really after that, I started training for my pro day, and it was kind of just quiet for me. I was just grinding, working with my trainers every day. In that period, there wasn't much going on in terms of like a lot of noise or buzz around my name. So that time period was kind of the easy part, I say, because I was just doing what I've been doing my whole career, just working and grinding. And then after the pro day happened and I put up the numbers I did, then the NFL team started getting noticed and scouts were reaching out and stuff. So ever since the pro days, that's when the whirlwind kind of began. And as we've gotten closer to the draft, it just picked up more and more. And then I'd assume when I get drafted, it's going to get even more crazier. So yeah, I'm just getting myself ready for that.
Yeah, like you said, when you started training after the holidays and you get into your pro day and you put up good numbers, share with us some of those numbers that you want to highlight going into the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I think my jumping, so my vertical was 11, or my broad was 11.5, and that was a big time PR for me. I think I only touched 11.3 one time during training, and I didn't even stick it, so we couldn't even really count that. But I was sitting around 11 feet throughout the whole training, so 11.5 was a good PR, and then my vertical was 41 and a half, and I wanted to get 42, but we'll stick with 41 and a half. That's still pretty good, but those just show off, I think, my explosiveness and the power I have. And then my 40 was around mid 4.4s. I kind of wanted to get low 4.4s, but we'll take the mid 4.4s, and that just shows my speed. And then when I got to the pro days and I got to show off my routes and my hands, I think I did pretty well doing that, showing my fluidity in my routes and in my hands. I think I got great hands, some of the best hands in the draft. So just being able to show that stuff off. And then also I forgot I PR'd my bench 21 reps at 225. That was a rep. I only got 18 throughout my whole training, so that's a 3 rep PR, and that's just a testament to the nerves and excitement I felt because that was the first thing we did at the pro day. So my nerves were at the highest at that point. So I think that just helped me get the extra 3 reps.
Yeah, and you talk about all that, and like you said, and congratulations on those numbers and what you were able to put together. You put all of this work in the background that nobody sees. And when we talk about the NFL draft and you get into that, there's a lot of focus always on the 40-yard dash. That seems to be the number that so many people want to talk about. And, they'll talk about the vertical and some other pieces and whatnot. But there's these drills that have to show your footwork and these moments that, in pro day, you have to show your ability to stop on a dime, change direction, and just move. What can you say about the footwork piece of it and what you were able to show there at Pro Day and in general with your ability to change direction, to stop, to move, as well as to take off? And when you're running a route, maybe you have to run the route to a certain point, stop, and then go again. Just what you've shown us with your footwork of stopping, taking off, and changing direction.
Yeah, I think my footwork shows that I have the capability to be an elite route runner. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not an elite route runner yet, but I plan on getting developed when I get to the league and just using the tools from the coaches, the coaching staff to improve my route running. And I showed that in the 3-cone and the L drill that I have the change of direction as much as the best of them. You know, I think I had like a 6-7 3-cone and a 4-2 something shuttle, which is up there with all the guys at the combine. So I have all the physical attributes to be an elite route runner, and then with the help of a NFL coach, and I've been working with my wide receiver coach, Coach Vanucci, on Long Island, and he's been getting my routes better, and yeah, just taking it step by step. And I've been telling myself when I get into an NFL organization, into the building with all the tools they have in there to help their players succeed, that it's just going to help my game get to the next level.
Speaking here with NFL draft prospect Cole Burgess out of SUNY Cortland. Cole, you played baseball too, and you brought that into the college world. How does that, if anywhere in your game, help you that you've been a baseball player?
Yeah, I mean, that was the first sport I've been playing. I remember my mom and dad are watching right now. They used to throw me baseballs in the backyard, and they would make sure to throw it to places they thought that I couldn't get it, so that I would have to dive and catch it. So, I mean, you can see that when I'm on the football field. There's a few times this past season, I mean, throughout my whole career, where there's balls that I had no business catching, but my baseball instinct kick in, and I feel like an outfielder again playing center field, and I just go track the ball down.
And you said your mom and dad are watching right now. I want to shout them out by first name. So share with everybody, mom and dad, and what do you want to say to them in this moment as you get ready to have your dreams realized?
Yeah, my mom's Colleen and my dad is Roger. And I guess I'll just go ahead and say, hey, guys.
That's it. Keeping it simple. So, Cole here on the show today, and Cole obviously winning that national championship for SUNY Cortland. Such a huge moment with you and your teammates. And also, when you look at Division One, AA, 1A, so you look at that, you look at FCS, you look at FBS, you look at D2, you look at D3. There's only one national champion in each of those four situations. So, regardless of division, you're on TV at the end. You're there the longest in the tournament for the NCAA Division III. And the longer that you last, the more opportunities for eyes on you as that pool gets smaller and smaller and smaller. To be one of four teams in NCAA history this year, this past season, that can say that they hoisted a national championship, what does that do to your draft stock, in your opinion, that you can say you're on one of four teams that hoisted a trophy this year?
Yeah, I think it just says to the scouts and the NFL teams that I'm a winner. You know, I feel I played a huge role in the journey to the national championship, and especially in the last two games. I think I had 5 total touchdowns, and I don't know the rest, but I had played a big part in those 2 games. And yeah, it just shows that I'm a winner, and I know how to win. I've been in some pretty big moments, and I feel like the moment never really gets too big for me, and I rise to the occasion. And I showed that in the national championship. You know, me and Zach, I mean, we didn't miss one time in the national championship. I think I had about, I don't know, 10 catches maybe, but we were on point. And then when it came down to the fourth quarter, we executed like it was the first quarter in week 1, and yeah, and then we ended up getting the win.
You know, and like you said, I mean, to be on that stage at that moment and play the game that you played, it's one thing to get to a championship. It's another thing to win that championship and to show what you showed and your poise in that moment to do what needs to be done. That game was back and forth against North Central. They know what it's like to win a national championship. 38-37 is the victory. So when you go back to that game, how does that game specifically, to go a little bit deeper into what you were just saying, how does that game show what you're capable of and what you can do in a championship situation in crunch time when the team can't afford to drop a ball?
Yeah, like I said, it just shows that when the pressure's at its highest, that I'm going to show up. I mean, looking back on the game when I was in the moment, it just felt like I was just playing a regular football game. I didn't really realize how crazy of a game it was really until after, and I rewatched it and I heard everybody talking about how crazy it was. And then I started thinking, I was like, wow, yeah, I guess that was a pretty crazy game. But when I'm in it, they score and we got to go back on the field. It's just, all right, let's do what we've been doing. I get to play and I line up and I run around like I'm just playing the same game I've been playing my whole life, and that's really all it is, and that's all it should be. So I don't let the pressure really get to me, and yeah, and I pride myself on being that guy for my team when the moment gets big and stepping up for everybody.
So, since that time at Pro Day when I had the opportunity to meet you in person, what has happened within these last few weeks from Pro Day to now? Have you been talking with NFL teams? Did you travel anywhere? Did you have any conversations that you really felt like went somewhere? What's it been like now since Pro Day?
Yeah, just having scouts reach out. My agent John Perez, he's been kind of the middleman in between all the NFL teams and myself, and I'll just say that we're in definitely a good position for draft day, and I like my chances at getting drafted. But even if it goes happens to be that I don't get drafted, I had a lot of opportunities as an undrafted free agent to go to a lot of places. So I like my chances during the draft. But if it doesn't work out, then I'll definitely be signing with the team after the draft.
The NFL's been known, Cole, to really be good at finding talent. Regardless of school's name, regardless of division, they've been able to scour and, better than some other leagues, find talent everywhere. There was a receiver back in the day who played in Division 3, and some people consider him the greatest receiver of all time in the NFL, Jerry Rice. Does that inspire you to see his story and know where he came from, and that he was counted out and he wasn't a Division 1A or Division 1 AA or Division 2, yet he came into the NFL and he bet on himself. He did what was in his control and arguably is the greatest receiver of all time.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you said it. You got to control what you can control, and all I can control right now is my attitude, my effort, and my mentality going in. And I don't know the exact numbers, but I know a majority of the NFL is made up of late round picks, undrafted free agents. I mean, all these, round one's huge. 32 guys get picked, but that doesn't make up the whole NFL. There's a lot of guys who do go late and do go undrafted that are in the Hall of Fame or are Pro Bowlers and stuff like that. So I know that the first step is just getting in the door, and then once I get in the door, what I do after that is what's going to determine my career. And I plan on making myself well known in the league, and the first step is just getting in the door. And then once I get there, I got to just work harder and develop my game even more, because it's going to be a big transition. But I mean, I love a challenge. I love adversity, so I like my chances.
Yeah, and I look at these training camp rosters, and we did an NFL draft preparation show here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where I went to all 32 teams' depth charts and took a look at what each team needed going into the draft. Teams carry a lot of wide receivers into training camp. Some will carry just tiny few might carry 5 at this point right now before the draft, but we're talking about 9, 7, 11. They'll carry so many. What differentiates you in a draft where they're saying, hey, there's so many receivers. If you need a receiver, you could trade out of the first few picks, drop down a few picks. You're still going to get a great guy. What is the difference? What's the Cole Burgess factor that NFL teams should know?
Just my work ethic and the determination I have. I've been through adversity when I was going through Portland, during COVID and then my suspension. And through that time, I just made sure I grew as a person and as a football player. And I'm excited to get into the NFL building, like I said, because I know I can develop even more. I mean, my physicals, my attributes are there. And I think with the right coaching, they can develop my game even more. I'm a raw football player, and I got natural talent and ability. And I think that the future is bright for me, and that I can really make an impact on special teams, and then as a receiver as well. You see guys getting hurt left and right in the NFL, especially at receiver. So I think I'm going to learn the playbook fast, and then I'm just going to be a guy that they can count on to go in there and make plays and and know what he's got to do to make the plays.
I know that there's some tough questions that might come about with a scout or an NFL team in general sitting you down. The 2020 year, the COVID year out of your control, the suspension in your control of 2021. If you're sitting in front of an NFL team right now and they talk to you about that suspension, what you learned from it, and why you're a better man today, a better overall player today, and why they should bring you on and never have to worry about you, what would you say? Because I've been in a lot of locker rooms and there's been a lot of talented guys, but some talented guys come with baggage, some talented guys don't. So why are you a talented guy who's learned from your mistakes and you're not going to come with baggage?
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from that mistake. At the time, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it was a dumb decision and a hard, crazy time. And I learned that my decisions, though it was a hard time, it ended up being good for me in the long run. And yeah, I learned a lot from it.
And you come back from that suspension and help your team eventually win a national championship. What do you think that shows of your development, your maturity, your growth to go through something that was, like we talked about, in your control and not making the right decision, to learning from that and what's in your control, making those right decisions and winning a national championship? What does it say about the story of Cole Burgess to go through adversity and turn it into a championship?
Yeah, I mean, everything I just said. It's just there's the proof right there. You can look at my Cortland career from pre-suspension to post-suspension, and you can just see everything that I went through. It paid off, and all the hard work. Literally see the progression and the development of me as a football player and as a person. So I think just go through and just look at the history of my career at Cortland, and it's all right there for you to see.
So Cole, I mean, when I met you back at Pro Day, you talked about being counted out before. You said you know what it's all about coming from Greenwich, and the fact that there wasn't that respect in the beginning. There's a chip on the shoulder from the jump. Bring me into that. Bring me into growing up, knowing who you are, knowing what you're capable of, and not necessarily getting that notoriety and continuing to work and not letting other people's opinions or thoughts determine who you are. Because you said, and I remember it vividly, on Pro Day, you said, listen, I've been counted out all my life. What has that done to make you a better player and a better man? And just what you could say to NFL teams about controlling what you can control and not letting somebody else's opinion of you determine who you are.
Yeah, I mean, I went to a super small high school, and I couldn't even get U Albany, the D1 school, in my backyard to recruit me. And I was seeing guys that I knew I was better than getting offers going to Division 1, and I had ended up having to go to the not having to go. I got to go to Cortland, which is another small school, and that's just another time where not many D3 players make it to the NFL. So I always got that in the back of my head, people telling me that, and another chip on my shoulder. And I'm watching college game day on Saturdays. There's these D1 guys I'm watching. I'm like, man, I know I'm as good, if not better than these guys. So just having to prove myself and knowing that I can get there in due time. If you're good enough, they're going to find you. And I just kept putting the work in, and I never let the stigma of small school not going to the NFL get into my head. And I knew the harder I worked, the more I put faith into my ability and into the whole process that it was going to happen. I mean, I really never once thought that it wasn't going to happen. Even when times were at its hardest, like during the suspension, I knew eventually I was going to be in this situation I'm at right now. And yeah, I just had to really just trust the process and keep working and not let outside influences get into my head.
Speaking here with Cole Burgess, SUNY Cortland wide receiver, 2023-24 national champion, and 2024 NFL draft prospect here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we head into the draft. Cole, some people hear negativity and they believe it. Some people hear hate and derogatory and you're not going to make it and you can't do this, and it seeps into them, and sometimes people let it change them. Why are you the opposite? Why did you hear all the noise in high school, hear all the noise right now? Why does it not matter to you? Because mental toughness, mental health, mental strength, mental fortitude, all of that is crucial in life. But not everybody has it right away, and sometimes it takes a long time. Why are you mentally tough? What made you the person that you are today to say, okay, that's your opinion, but I'm still going to go out on the field and do what I know I'm capable of?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that I've developed throughout the years is the use of the mind. Positive thought goes a long, long way. And then the mind's a powerful tool, and you can either use it to help you or you can use it to tear you down. And I choose to try to use my mind in the best way I can. I mean, during the season, if you went into my bedroom, all you would see on the wall is a bunch, I'd say close to like 50 pieces of paper, post-it notes of just positive affirmations. Like I wrote everything down in the journal. Like I planned this in my head, and I meditated on it, I prayed on it, and everything that I dreamed of is coming to fruition. And I know it's because of how much all the positive thoughts I keep in my head. I try not to let any negativity get into my head because I know that that's detrimental. And self confidence is the biggest thing that's going to help me succeed moving on. I can't let a bad day break me down. I got to go back out there in day two of camp and do what I know I can do and keep that confidence even when things get hard. So yeah, just building on that every day and keeping those positive thoughts flowing.
And you talked about the faith of it all and just, praying about it. What can you say that element has in your life? Your faith, your belief, no matter what. How does that lift you at a time where you need it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's one of those things I can't really explain. Faith is something that you only have to if you don't experience it, you can't really understand it. But if you've understood faith, even if in the smallest aspect, then you know exactly how powerful it is. I know in the Bible it says like I don't know the exact verse, but like the faith of a mustard seed can move mountains, and that's very true. And I felt that to the fullest extent this past season. We faced adversity in the playoffs, but the amount of faith that we had as a team, as I had, but I knew as a team we all had the same faith too, and you could feel that on the field in the huddle, and it ended up we did the impossible that most people thought that Northeast team couldn't do, and that's because of hard work, but a lot of faith too.
And you have that faith with your team and it comes through and you find that positivity to a national championship and representing upstate New York in a massive way that I can't thank you all enough for. Your head coach, Kurt Fitzpatrick, what do you want to say to Kurt and to this coaching staff as you step forward after this opportunity that they gave you here to continue on your love for football into college and hopefully into the NFL? What do you want to say to Coach Fitz as well as the rest of the coaching staff?
Yeah, I got nothing but love for Coach Fitz and the rest of the coaches. Coach Gallagher, he came in, he was a first year wide receiver coach, and we say he got kind of lucky having the receiver room he did, but nonetheless, he was a great receiver coach, anyways. But Coach Fitz, he came in and he did the program just went up and to the right the whole time. Year after year, he just improved and improved and improved, and yeah, he's a big testament of all the successes of Coach Fitz. And I remember a quick story when I came back from the suspension. So I wasn't on the team in 2021, his first year as a coach after COVID. But when I came back, I remember being in his room and we were just talking about the plan coming up. And I remember everything. So everything that I've been going through right now after the national championship, I remember saying to him was going to happen in the room. So I don't know if he's watching right now, but I remember texting him after all this stuff went on. And I was like, you remember that time we were talking in your room and I said all this stuff was going to happen? And he was like, yeah, I remember. So that's just a quick story, but yeah, Coach Fitz, he's a great coach, but he's also a great man, and I'm blessed that he got to that he let me come back to the team because there's some coaches who after a guy gets suspended, he could have easily said, nah, you got to find somewhere else to play, but he welcomed me back with open arms, and yeah, he helped me. I wouldn't be here in this position if he wasn't my coach, that's for sure.
What do you think Coach Fitz saw in you to bring you back onto the roster?
Well, we played against each other. He was a coach at Morrisville, so he played against me in my sophomore year. The first year I was really a receiver, and I think he saw the ability that I had in that game. I don't think I played too good, but I made some plays where he definitely could have could have seen that I could help the team out. But also, we were in the same conference, so he saw what I was doing week in and week out. But also, I mean, throughout the whole suspension, I was sending our wide receiver coach at the time, Coach Spalek, some videos of me working out, and so he could see the hard work I was putting in behind the scenes, and I was still watching film, reaching out to the guys, and even though I wasn't there, I feel like my presence was still felt in the program, and I think he was excited to help see what I could help the team out with because I mean they had success without me, and I think he knew that I could help the team even more.
And you, I mean, being a wide receiver, you're at the mercy of your quarterback. You mentioned Zach before. What do you want to say to Zach about what he did to help your game? Because now, as you know, there's NFL teams looking at your film and looking back on, you know, the national championship game and games in general. You got to have a quarterback that can put the ball where it needs to be. And like you said, mom and dad taught you how to leap out for things and brought you through baseball to go after things, go after balls that maybe, you know, you had, like you said, no business catching, but you caught them anyways. So you made some tremendous plays, but also some credit to your quarterback. What do you want to say about Zach and what he did to really show your talent from quarterback to receiver?
Yeah, he just as we got further and further into the season and more reps under our belt, just the confidence he had in me and the trust he had in me to get me the ball, knowing that I was going to do great things when the ball got into my hands. But also, just what I can say about Zach is the development that I've seen from him from 2022 to the end of 2023, and I know he's going to grow even more going into next season. So, just the player he was at the beginning of the season to where he was in the national championship was two completely different players, and that's just a testament to the growth and development that he went through. I mean, he in 2022 when we ended the season on 2 losses, we played in Yankee Stadium in front of 50,000 people, and Zach will say it himself. He did not play the game he wanted to play. He did not play well at all, and he ended up playing better at the end of the game. But you know, that's the game that molded him into the player he is now, and is gonna keep growing into being. That game was a crucial part in our success. Even though we lost, I don't think we have the success we have if he doesn't go through that adversity and we don't go through that adversity as a team. So shout out to Zach, and I'm excited to watch him keep playing in 2024, seeing what he can do.
You mentioned Yankee Stadium. Cortica obviously is not a upstate New York thing. It's a nationally known thing. There's people that get up for this game, get excited for this game, come back into town for this game. The Jug knows what it's like to be at home in Cortland a lot in recent history. So what can you tell us about taking home the Jug and what it means to you to have success in the Cortica world? Like you said, there's been adversity there, but there's also been success there, and just how big a game like that is for not only the upstate New York community and the alumni, but it's a game that people watch from all over the country.
Yeah, that's a special game and something that I look forward to my whole career. And I'm lucky that I got to end my career with a win. I didn't get a win up until this last year, and that definitely hurt not having a win. But I'm glad I finally got one. And yeah, we got to play in MetLife Stadium, Yankee Stadium, and broke the Division III football attendance record. So this game it's the real deal. And Ithaca, they always, it's a battle every time we play. I remember that was the toughest game I played this past year, was against Ithaca. They're tough, they're gritty, they hit, and they're not going to go away. I mean, they did not go away at all that whole game until the final kneel down. So yeah, I'm excited to go back and watch that game as a fan, because as a player it is something else, but I'm excited to experience it as a fan and enjoy some of the extracurricular activity that go on.
So you said that was the toughest game you played all year, even more than the national championship against North Central?
Yeah, it was just, I remember at halftime in Cortica, I was sitting down next to JJ and Jaden, and we were just, you could just see we had like, I could see it in their face that they were going through it. I was going through it. It was just a tough game. And looking back on it, like that's what you want to go through as a football player. Like that's fun. That was war. We were going through war with my brothers, and it was cool to see us fight and battle to the last whistle and get that first quarter could win for me, but just it was a great team win.
Yeah, coming from Cole Burgess. Cole, we're going to do a final thing called rapid fire here. I want the NFL scouts to see how well you can think on your toes quickly here. So SUNY Cortland wide receiver, 2023 season national champion and 2024 NFL draft prospect here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I'm going to throw questions from all different places to you. Let's see what you got in the moment. So, if we're down in a game, 2-minute warning, team down by 6, need a touchdown and an extra point to win the game, do you tell your quarterback in the huddle in the NFL to get the ball to the right spot, or do you tell him to specifically give it to you?
I'm saying him to throw it up to me.
Throw it up to you. Okay. All right. Next one here. What is the one thing, the one food that you cannot live without, that you could eat every single day no matter what?
I got to go with bananas.
Bananas. That is the healthiest answer I've ever gotten here on the show. I like that. Bananas. All right. What song needs to play every time you score a touchdown in the NFL?
Sheesh. I'll say Red Nation by LeMoyne.
By LeMoyne. Okay. Biggest thing that you've improved on or off the field in your life up to this point?
I would say my mentality.
Mentality. Okay, and we talked about that. Best piece of advice your parents ever gave you?
Best piece of advice. Don't do anything stupid.
Don't do anything stupid. And I like that. My grandmother would always say, keep your nose clean, which is on the same line there. The first time that you make $1 million, what's the first thing you're going to do with it?
Get rid of all my debt.
That's the right answer. That's a good answer right there. Who is the biggest, outside of your parents, who's had the biggest influence on your life? And is there a piece of advice from them that you remember?
I don't know. It's a tough one. I don't got an answer for this one.
You have an answer for that one? Do you have another mentor that you can shout out?
I would just say, just all my coaches. I'll say my favorite coach was, or the most impactful, I'd say, was Coach McParland in high school. He came into our program and he brought a lot of success in 1 year. So shout out Coach McP.
Running deep down the field on the sideline or running across the middle? Which one?
Deep down the field on the sideline.
Okay. One-handed catch, two-handed catch in crunch time. Do you trust yourself to go up with one in the end zone, or are you doing your best to have two?
Gotta have two.
Gotta have two.
I trust myself, but you gotta have two.
Okay. Fair enough. 3 words to describe Cole Burgess.
Funny, chill, and prankster.
Best prank you've ever played?
Ooh.
I'm a prankster. That's why I'm asking.
Best prank I've ever played.
Yeah.
Man, I got a lot of them. I remember I was camping with my family, and my cousins were in one tent, and I had this fart spray, and it smelled really, really bad. So I sprayed it in their tent, and they had no idea I did it. They ended up coming to my tent, and they had scented lotion stuffed up their nose because it smelled so bad.
I like that. That's good. I can respect that. All right. Last one. Last question. If you were the president of the United States and you could do anything in the world, money's not an object, you have the power to change anything for the better, what is the first thing you do?
First thing I do? First thing I do? I'd maybe add a couple more bye weeks to the NFL season.
A couple more bye weeks. Why?
Because that's a lot of games, and I know I'm getting ready for it. And another bye week or two would be nice.
Okay, more bye weeks, and I think NFL players would agree with you because there's a lot of wear and tear on the body that goes through a season that has another regular season game now, and obviously has added in the wild card world. So with that being said, Cole Burgess here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, heading into the NFL draft. Cole, you get the final word. What do you want the NFL to know in this moment? Right here, there's 32 franchises out there. You get the final word. You're looking into the camera. Your eyes to their eyes. What do you want to say eye to eye?
If you want me, come and draft me.
Cole Burgess, SUNY Cortland, national champion, wide receiver in the 2024 NFL Draft. Looking forward to hearing his name and seeing his opportunity step forward. Cole, thank you so much for the chance to get to talk with you more. To get to meet you and ask a couple questions was great, but for you to be open to do this means a lot to me, and I can't wait to see your name. And now it's personal for me. I'm going to be looking for Cole Burgess on the ticker the whole way through, so can't wait to see it, and God bless as always.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, Dan.
All right, man. Take care. That coming from Cole Burgess here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. If you want them, go draft them. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back with Jason Lucas right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, there for you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, is my sports card shop of choice and my trading card shop of choice. Why? Because good people are the people that I support. The good, hardworking, passionate, caring people. They don't just sell sports cards. They care about the sports card world. They care about Disney Lorcana and Pokemon and knowing the ins and outs of what's going on, what's coming up. They educate themselves and they educate who's coming through the door. They help you to know things that you need to know. So if there's something that you don't know and maybe there's a box of football you're looking at, they'll let you know, hey, if you're looking for this player, you're looking for that, you're looking for a relic, you're looking for an auto, probably better you get this box. I appreciate the expertise. I appreciate the care. I appreciate the time they take to get to know each one of the customers that come through the door. GG Cards and Breaks is just a different place for all the right reasons. 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. I will go there over and over and over again. I'm going there today. And I always look forward to it. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5 on Sunday. And they're a sports card shop that's open 7 days a week, which is also unheard of. So love going to GG Cards and Breaks. Appreciate the community, all different ages, and it means a lot to me, the fun we get to have together. So shout out to GG Cards and Breaks. And with that being said, we have the opportunity of continuing the conversation with the NFL Draft. And that conversation continues with my guy, Jason Lucas. Bringing in Jason, picture in picture. It's been a minute since you've seen Jaybird here, but he's decided to land back on Wake Up Call after he's been flying all around this country. And Jason is here with us doing a lot of fun things in the sports and entertainment world. He's always got something up his sleeve, always got something coming up next. And I definitely appreciate the fact that he works as hard as he does, because it's very proud. I'm a proud brother, I should say, of Mr. Lucas. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of the work that he's done. I'm proud of the father that he is and the man that he's chosen to be. And he also comes from a fantastic family. So with that being said, Mr. Lucas, how are you?
Great, Dan, my brother. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, man. I'm enjoying life. I don't know what got into me yesterday. I decided to cut my entire lawn. Normally I do I do what's called, and I'm going to trademark this, I do what's called the mullet lawn, where I do business in the front and I leave the party in the back because I have a fence. So people can see the front of my nice, beautiful lawn, but I can let the back grow a little bit longer before I have to take care of it. Well, yesterday I decided to do all of it, and it actually didn't take that long. It was really nice. The weather was great. It wasn't too hot. It was like, I don't know, like upper 60s, and the blue skies, just a wonderful time. So I really enjoyed mowing my lawn yesterday, and yeah, I mean, that's what I did. I enjoyed mowing the lawn. I took the mullet and I shaved the whole head like I shaved my head. So I don't know, but I do, if you're going to use the mullet, just make sure you trademark it and give me credit, anybody out there. But yes, I like to call business in the front, party in the back. But I took care of the back for Lily yesterday.
Nice, bro. Yeah, I can't even believe it's warm enough up there to be cutting the lawn yet.
Yeah, it hasn't been, and then it has been, and then it hasn't been, and then it has been. So we have a very interesting relationship with Mother Nature. So we've been getting somewhere around 4 seasons. I think it snowed somewhere a couple days ago in New York, but it's been nice up here. Honestly, it's been great. The NFL draft is a huge time, and a time to cut the lawn or sit with the dog or do something like that, I appreciate, because you know, and I know that the world of sports and entertainment is very busy. I will always be grateful to God for having something to do and being busy. I was up until past 1 o'clock this morning preparing for something that I can't even talk about yet. So, you know, there's a lot of good stuff happening. And at the same time, I would suggest that everybody goes out today, especially if you got some blue skies. And even if you don't, even if it's cloudy, just go out there and look up and thank God that you got another chance to spin around the sun. So, how's everything been for you, man? What's going on down in Florida?
Yeah, no, it's been a crazy time. I got to go down or up, should I say, to South Carolina last week and check out a Jess Lee concert, and took my sister, sold some merch, and had a good time. And I work with weight loss influencers, so I've been doing that on Instagram and just keeping busy with all my creativity, all my ideas. Everything's always, evolving in the Instagram world.
Yeah, and I will say this, Jess Lee, I saw her stuff last night, and I followed her on Instagram. So as someone that works so closely with her, you need to tell her who to follow back. But yes, I have
no problem.
I have given her some love there because I know she's working hard and doing some good things. And you had the opportunity to go out to South Carolina, like you said, and have some fun. What was the experience like out in South Carolina? What did you get to do? I always think it's great to share your story because you have seen so many elements of the sports and entertainment world. You've seen it from the media side, you've seen it from the PR side, you've seen it in front offices, you've seen it on the road. So what was this experience like?
Yeah, this was crazy because it was the travel day for me was insane. I literally left here, Florida, at like noon,
Yeah.
flew to North Carolina where my sister lives. It's about 90 minutes to an hour, 2 hours from the venue where we went to the freight yard in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So my sister drove us down. We went to the concert. The concert was packed. Like it was, I was pleasantly surprised. It's a upstairs and downstairs venue right there in downtown Spartanburg, right next to the Denny's headquarters, actually. I got to see the Denny's headquarters. So upstairs, downstairs venue.
Yeah.
It was packed downstairs, upstairs, and everywhere. And Jess Lee put on a hell of a show. I got to sell merch, which is brand new to me too. Just another angle that I'm seeing things now. Now it's music versus football.
Yeah, and you get to see so many different, like I said, elements and pieces of the sports and entertainment world. How exciting has this road been for you? Because you and I talked about it before. I mean, the UFL is back, and it's the connection of the XFL and the USFL, but you and I met because of the UFL. In the United Football League with the Florida Tuskers down in Orlando, that's how you and I met. I wanted to cover the team, and you were there in the front office of the team. So, you've seen all these things. You've seen now the return of the UFL, like you said, working in the entertainment world, in the music industry and whatnot. What's coming up for Jason Lucas? Because I don't think anything would surprise me. I think if you said, I'm going to be a general manager of a team, I'm going to start this, I'm going to continue this, I'm going to bring this back. You've made so many connections and you've built so many very valuable bridges that it wouldn't surprise me if you ended up running a league someday, being a GM of a team somewhere. What is your hope as you step forward? You and I have talked about some big picture ideas for college football and whatnot. So what are you hoping to do?
Marry my two things would be amazing. If we could put together a Jess Lee Roadshow with some college football, like a college game day type thing. We've talked about that. That would be amazing to be able to marry the two things together, entertainment, sports.
Yeah.
And be able to do both, be able to, work on the music side, and then when the game starts, be able to go inside and enjoy, not have to work so hard to put an event on. Because, I mean, the one thing people don't understand is like the behind the scenes of putting on a football game.
Yeah.
Like on the day after that, these people they're home sleeping. Like it's a tired that I can't even explain. So yeah, no, I would think marrying the two things, being able to be on the tour bus, going around the country to different college campuses, I think is what it would be. And just putting on a show Saturday mornings before the games start and being able to enjoy
Yeah,
afterwards.
well, and you, like you said, and I just had this conversation yesterday when I was doing an event at Pizza Man. As I said, when people say, "How are you?" I say, "Good," and my head goes, "Also tired." And it's always a good tired, but I don't think people get it because they're like, "Oh, Dan, it's April. You don't have football. You don't have basketball. College basketball is done, so there's still some in the NBA and whatnot." But they're like, "Hey, you're not traveling as much. It's not the fall. It's not the winter. So now that we're going into May, you're probably like doing nothing." And and I know I'm never doing nothing. And so I'm really tired. And I told somebody that yesterday. I was like, I don't think people understand that those of us in the sports and entertainment world, sometimes we wake up, do some things, and it's 11 a.m. and we're like, I need to go back to sleep to try and like make up for all of this travel and all these things. And people also don't get that, like, when you're traveling for, from July, and not every day, but like when you're traveling essentially from like June, July through April, your body is just tired. And so like here, what is it, April 24th? And people are like, well, how you doing right now? Like, how's everything? You're probably sitting doing nothing. You're probably just relaxing. You got a couple things. You got some baseball going on. You got some lacrosse going on. You're probably just hanging out. And I'm like, dude, I want to take a nap. Like, I want to take a really nice nap. So I totally get the world that you're living in because I can understand that world. And I don't think people know what goes into the background of it. And leading into what we're going to talk about today, the NFL draft, for example, the amount of people that you will never see, that you know nothing about, you don't know their names, you don't know their faces, the amount of people that have to work on and you talk about marrying two things together. The NFL draft marries music with sports, and they have to put together their whole lineup. And being an accredited member of the NFL, like, we get sent, like, here are the people. Here's who's coming to the show. So you have to build the stages, put the chairs down, block off those areas. And sometimes there's not one stage. So you got to have a stage, then you have to have maybe another smaller stage. Then you have to work out what the outdoor atmosphere is going to look like for the NFL draft. How are you going to work that out? And then all the people that are building that individual stage, putting in those chairs, putting in those areas. People don't think about the building of a stage, the placement of things, the graphics that have to be done, the giant, heavy equipment that has to be put out there so that you can see those digital boards. There's so much effort that goes. People think like, oh, the draft starts April 25th. No. For the people working on it in the city, the draft started a month ago. And for the people that are planning it, the draft started years ago. So, just to go into that side of it, because I know you can appreciate it, just the fact that we're going to see this draft and we're going to only be concerned with who is our team picking. Yeah. But there's thousands of people that are running wires and setting tables and putting chairs and on headsets, moving people around that we're never going to see.
Yeah, the guy that I think about is the guy that has to do all the cut-ups for the players because there's like 1,000 draft-eligible players somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Every single player has a cut-up for when they get drafted.
Yeah.
And that's, all the way through the 7th round. So you literally have all these guys going, okay, this play, this play, this play. They're putting in cut-ups. They're probably working on that for 2 or 3 months before you ever get to see what comes on tomorrow.
Right. And just for someone to go, yep, so we got Drake May. Let's put it up there. And it's like, and the thing is, and they don't even say that anymore. Now, when they're doing something, they'll just go, and the Arizona Cardinals have traded down to pick number 11. Coming up to 4 are the Minnesota Vikings. So then you got to have that graphic shift. Then you have to put up the graphic of what did Minnesota get, what did Arizona get. That's all in the moment. So there's templates set up, and then you got to type all that stuff in, boom, put it up on the board. All right, and the Minnesota's on the screen. And it's not just a clip of a game. They're going through just years and seasons and this game and this game and this game and this game, and let's look at this and let's look at that. And then there's times where, like, Jacksonville in the first round drafts Tyson Alualu, and not a lot of people had any paper of him. I think they were looking for the cut-up of him. So, I mean, there is so much. And the thing is, all the work that goes in and all the people that edit this, if the person that's running the board that day, all the editing's done, everything's pristine, they got 1,013 players, let's say, as an example, all with video footage.
Yep.
And the person running the control room board doesn't hit the button as soon as Ian Rappaport wants him to hit the button. So now Ian goes, where's the tape? And now that person could get fired. I mean, it's like, it's crazy that not only all this work has to be pre-done, but you also have to be able to be on cue, just bang, 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 bang. And people have no idea what it's like to run a control room. I do. I did it for multiple years at school, and it was standing in a TV room. I mean, whether I'm on campus or I'm at News Channel 9 or whatever, it is crazy. You can't even afford to have a half of a millisecond of a daydream. If you go, what am I having for dinner? The thought of what am I having for dinner and saying those words in your head, you just missed 2 cuts. You were supposed to go to camera 2, then back to 1, and now people are going, why is this person talking but they're not on screen? So, I mean, Jay, there's, like you said, you think of the guy doing the cut-ups. I think of the man or woman taking those cut-ups and having to hit the button to the, it's such a precise time that none of the broadcasters call them out and say, I don't know why the tape's not up yet.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, as a PR guy, I always had to go in and correct any like spelling errors. So they'd have me in there and be like, let's make sure this is spelled correctly. And then you go in with the broadcast team and make sure that any pronunciations that are questionable, that you tell them how to pronounce the name. So that was like my role in that was going in and having to make all the corrections, and also like letting them know of any inside stories that they haven't heard about, which we've talked about the draft before. Like, it's usually the saddest story of a guy's life they bring up. Yeah. And it's coming. It'll be like, oh, this guy's uncle died last year and he was so motivational to him, and it's just the dude bawling, crying. So get ready for that.
Yeah, I'm like, I would love for, like, this guy saved a puppy. This guy ran into a burning building and brought out an 80-year-old woman. I don't want to how about just showing this guy that just got drafted, Rome Odunze, he's such a happy guy and he had such a great life growing up, and he loved going to Disney with his parents, and then they show him like at Disney with Mickey ears on, just smiling. Like, why can't we have the happy? And it's funny that you bring that up, because the guy that I'm doing the mock draft with tomorrow night, Al Romano, who won a national championship with the Pitt Panthers in college, and Tony Dorsett, him and I, when we sit down at 6:00 tomorrow night leading you into the draft, he called me up and he said, hey, when we're doing our picks 1 through 32, he said, why don't we have like an interesting thing about the teams? So why don't we talk about some of the undrafted guys that are Hall of Famers? So when we get to the Pittsburgh Steelers pick, we can mention this guy and, have a nice tidbit about this. He's like, how about we, expand everything that we've done and add in some of these, like, did you know fun fact things? So it's funny that you bring that up, because we're going to be doing that tomorrow.
Yeah. 100%. You got to be ready for anything tomorrow night. I think there could be some really exciting trades coming up. Teams moving back, teams that are a little kind of comfortable where they're at in the middle, and just trying to get some value.
So we're going into the draft. We're here with Jason Lucas of the sports and entertainment world, one of my brothers, my family, and both of us are, drinking out of our cups. When we're talking about the control room and all this stuff, all I'm picturing is somebody, I have water in here, but I'm picturing someone who has like coffee, just sitting there all day looking at the stream going, no, that's a
coffee.
P. Yeah. No, that's a P. No, that's not how you say his name. Really? No. So look at the name. I know it doesn't look like what it's. Just can you? How do I know? How do I know? Because I've known him for 7 years. Can you put it in? It's not Nasib. It's Nasib. I promise you. No, put it up there right now. Put it up on. I mean, like, there's people having those conversations right now, Jason, with a giant thing of coffee going, Bob, that's not what it says. No, come here. Carol. Come here, Carol. Is that what it says? So, like, I mean, there's people having these, and the thing is I kind of miss it. You know what I mean? Like, some people, like, and listen, it's not for everybody, but I kind of miss being in a control room and, like, having to look at 350. Like, I taught my teachers in college how to make a ticker. I figured out the way to create a ticker in college. I was like, I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, no, we're not going to do that. I can't, because I know that I can. I said, somebody at ESPN figured out how to make a scroll move on a screen. None of my teachers knew how to do it that I had spoken to. I don't know if anybody else did. I went in on a Saturday. I spent 2 hours and I said, I'm going to figure out how to make something move on the screen. And I made the box and I made the lettering and I timed it together. And my teacher goes, how did you do that? And then here's a crazy thing. My teacher and advisor destroyed my tape.
The heck?
So, yeah, destroyed my tape. He said, that'll teach you to give the original copy to somebody. I was like, or you're just trying to destroy the fact that I made something that you didn't know how to make. But
right.
But there's so much that goes on in the background. Let's talk about the foreground. We got our few picks coming up here, 1 through 32 tomorrow night, April 25th, round number 1. Then we're rounds 2 and 3 on Friday and 4 through 7 on Saturday. Jason and I are the crazy people that watch the draft all the way through, and we're paying attention to it Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I got a bunch of questions for you, and then I want you to throw a bunch at me. I have no idea what he's going to ask me, and Jay has no idea what I'm going to ask him. Over under that the Arizona Cardinals do what I think they're going to do and trade from 4 to 11, still get a wide receiver, but let the Minnesota Vikings come up to 4 to take J.J. McCarthy.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of teams that are desperate for a quarterback, and that's kind of what I was getting at. I think that's really going to happen.
Okay, so Jason thinks that one's going to happen. Caleb Williams gets drafted by the Chicago Bears. That they don't pull a shift here and go to Drake May or Jaden Daniels. What are your thoughts on Caleb Williams actually going to Chicago?
I think it's a done deal. And the reason why I'm saying that is the odds are you got to bet 10,000 to win $100 on Caleb Williams being the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty sure thing in Vegas, apparently.
Okay. So fair
That's
thing.
got to be happening.
Yeah, fair thing there. If you were the Washington Commanders, Jaden Daniels or Drake May?
Daniels, 100%.
Why?
I don't think I've seen a better quarterback as far as like how athletic he is, how he gets rid of the ball. Very accurate. He had really good receivers at LSU. Of course, we have a little connection there with Cortez Hankton, the receivers coach. So
yeah,
we know he had real good receivers there. So, yeah, I think Daniels would be my guy.
Okay. New York Giants take a quarterback at number 6.
They got a lot of money invested in Daniel Jones. I don't think so.
All right.
They got to get him a target.
Tennessee Titans, who can't seem to help themselves when they're in a position like this, when they're in the top 10 picks, they typically take a wide receiver. Do you think they'll do it at number 7?
I think that's probably where Malik Neighbors is going.
Okay. All right. Chicago's second pick of the first round, number 9 overall, their actual pick, because the number 1 pick is from Carolina. Position that the Chicago Bears take at number 9.
Probably receiver. And Odunze.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brock Bowers to the New York Jets at number 10.
Done deal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers needs one more target there for sure. And more protection.
Denver Broncos taking a quarterback at 12. So here, two-part question. Does Denver trade up from 12? And whether they trade up or not, do they take a quarterback regardless?
Well, they just got Zach Wilson yesterday. They must have some confidence in him that nobody else has seen.
I'm going to ask the same question regardless of what came out of your mouth. Do they take a quarterback?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Jacksonville Jaguars at number 17. Who do they take? Give me position and give me a name. And I can say I'm not gonna load the question here. I'll just say that there are 2 other mock drafts that took the exact same player that I have.
Man, I don't know. The Jags, I feel like they were missing some protection up front last year. I felt like that was kind of an Achilles heel for them. Trevor was running for his life. So I don't have a lot of offensive lineman names for you just off the top of my head, but I would say that's where they go.
Okay. I got defensive line, but I think, and I've said this, if they go offensive and defensive line the whole draft or 5 out of 7 picks, and then they take a receiver and a DB somewhere, totally fine with it. 21 overall, you're wearing the Miami Dolphins. You're a Dolphins fan. Who does Miami take at 21?
I'm praying for like a possession receiver, like a Javon Baker.
Okay. All right.
My guy from UCF, I'm hoping.
This is a totally, you mentioned UCF, this is a totally unrelated NFL question, but it's a related UCF question. Thoughts on getting Benny Williams, who transferred from Syracuse to UCF basketball?
Oh, it's an exciting pipeline, isn't it? From Syracuse to UCF. What was the story with him? Why did he leave?
So Benny was dismissed from the team. Benny was suspended last year or 2 seasons ago, one time by Jim Boeheim. And then he was suspended off and on or just wasn't with the team multiple times with Adrian Autry. He's always been good to me. He's always, I thought, been real with me. And he refused to talk to other people in the media, but he would talk to me because I didn't speak for him.
Right.
So I don't have anything bad to say about Benny. And I talked to somebody recently about Benny, and I'll leave that conversation off the air, but it kind of echoed the sentiments. The only reason why I bring it up vaguely is that it echoed the sentiments that I have, that Benny, I don't think Benny's a bad guy. So I think the picture painted of him in Syracuse was not positive, but I am happy that Benny found a home at UCF, and I really hope that you call me up with exciting, positive, great news about Benny. I really hope you end up liking the guy. And then you can have a Benny moment, but I, for the second time in my life, have to go, Benny!
I was going to ask.
The second time in my life, I have to miss a Benny, but I don't really have to miss a Benny because you and I can schedule a UCF game and I can go see Benny.
You know, some of the most fun I had this year was taking the girls to UCF games. I actually got Carly and Gracie individually out to games this year. And, man, some of the stuff they do during timeouts, like, it's amazing. It's actually really a lot of fun going to UCF basketball. And they were competitive in the Big 12 this year, which nobody had them being. So,
yeah,
that was really cool. It was a lot of fun. I got to go out and see them play Houston when Houston was top-ranked number 1. Played them close. Didn't win, but played them close. It was a lot of fun, man. It's a great atmosphere at UCF, and anybody that lives here in Orlando and doesn't go to UCF basketball that has any connection, they're missing out.
Yeah, and I can honestly say one of my favorite moments was when UCF beat the Florida Gators at the Amway Center when the Amway Center was young in that awesome battle for Florida at the home of the Orlando Magic. That was a huge game, and that's when one of Michael Jordan's sons was playing on UCF. So
yep,
that was a good time, and I can dial that up very easily, that moment. Okay, Jay, my last question for you before I flip it to you to ask me questions about the draft. Buffalo Bills, do they trade up from 28, and no matter what, do they get a receiver?
I think they've got to get a receiver. I mean, you let Diggs and Davis go, you've got to get somebody. Josh Allen's going to be the next one that's unhappy if they don't draft a receiver.
Do they trade up?
I think they'll feel it out and decide if they have to or not.
Okay.
I think, if they get a feeling like Obviously, I think Tampa in front of them is another like candidate for a receiver. They might trade up 2 spots, trade up 3 spots.
All right. What are your questions for me?
Man, how do you feel about Chicago taking Williams number 1 and it being sure thing according to Vegas from what I'm looking at, when I feel like, and I could be wrong, of course, I feel like Daniels and May are better prospects.
I agree. And I've said I think Drake May should go. And I saw Caleb Williams play live, and I was shocked that a human being could do the things that he does. And I saw him in the Cotton Bowl 2 seasons ago, and I mean, it was a great game because Caleb Williams was incredible, and it was high scoring, and it was never over, even when you thought it was over. And Tulane won, and Willie Fritz was there, and I got to be with Tajay Spears and Michael Pratt and so on and so forth, and all the guys there. So it was a lot of great things and it was cool because I was looking for Mike Oresco, the longtime commissioner of the American, and I was looking for him, and I turn around and I see him walking up, and there were some media people going to talk to him, and he blew by everybody, and he goes, "Dan!" And he gives me like a giant hug, and he was so excited, and he was like, "What a great game." And I was like, "Yeah, we both got to see it live." And that was probably one of the greatest moments in AAC history when it comes to the American in the bowl world. And of course, UCF has that with Blake Bortles as well and George O'Leary. But I would say, as talented as Caleb is, I don't feel good about it. And I think they should take Drake May. I think they should take Drake May, which would provoke Washington to take Jaden Daniels. And I don't think if it happens this way, if Chicago takes Drake May and Washington takes Jaden Daniels, I don't think New England takes Caleb Williams. And then all of a sudden Caleb falls out of the top 3. I like his talent, but I'm concerned. So I would suggest Chicago take Drake May.
Michael Penix, do you think he goes in the first round?
If there's going to be this like mad run on quarterbacks, which I understand, like I get that there's teams that need quarterbacks. I get that the top 3 picks, if they stay the same, I get that, they need. I know Minnesota needs one, but I know Chicago at 1, Washington at 2, New England at 3, maybe the Giants, and then Minnesota, and maybe Denver, and maybe Seattle. Like, I mean, I could see it happening. If it happens, I feel like it's maybe in the middle of the first round, and maybe it's Seattle that takes Michael Penix and says, "Hey, we're going to put you behind Geno and let you learn for a little while." But I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. What else you got?
How bad do you think it hurt Marvin Harrison Jr. that he didn't work out at the Combine?
I don't think it hurts him. I think the hype is there. I think that, for me, honestly, I think he's going 5. I think he's going to Los Angeles Chargers. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to be one of the happiest people on draft night, and it's going to piss a lot of people off because they're going to be like, how does this guy, get to do everything that he got to do at Michigan, and now he gets to reel in the guy that he had to go up against? I just see it happening. I don't trust Arizona, and Arizona has let go of DeAndre Hopkins after trying to bring in a number 1 guy, let go of Hollywood Brown after trying to bring in a number 1 guy. So I don't think they're going to spend a high draft pick on a number 1 guy at wide receiver. I just don't think that's their MO. So I think it's quarterback. I think Arizona might trade down, and I think 5 is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think that. I have not heard of anybody feeling less great about Marvin Harrison Jr. I'll say that.
So here's something interesting, just right along with what we're talking about at number 5 in the Chargers. Chargers have this kid named Justin Herbert that was on the cover of my 85-inch TV when they got to my house. Coming back off an injury.
Yeah.
The favorite to be taken at number 5 is J.J. McCarthy, followed by Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors. Why? Why would they take a quarterback? Why would that be the favorite there?
I think it's because some people do the recreational drugs, and I think that they write down things that make sense, like J.J. McCarthy is Jim Harbaugh's guy, but you have Justin Herbert. He is young in his career. He's got plenty of years, God willing, ahead of him. And I said, if Jim Harbaugh goes to any team, he's going to go to the Chargers. That happened. I said, if he goes to the Chargers, he has Justin Herbert, but he has to prepare for Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, and Mike Williams within the next year or two not being on the team, and they got rid of all of them. So he needs a wide receiver for one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Justin Herbert throws, and I go back a couple years looking at it. I don't know arguably if someone throws as pretty of a ball as Justin Herbert throws. So in my opinion, Herbie Hancock needs Marvin Harrison Jr., and I think that's what they're going to get. The J.J. McCarthy thing, I think it's smoke and mirrors, and I think it's just a lot of people making the Michigan connection, not understanding football, because you don't draft a quarterback 5 overall when you've lost both of your receivers and your running back. You got one more, Jay. What do you got?
What do you think the Jets are going to do? Let's stay up there in your market.
Okay. I think if Bowers is there at 10, I do think that Bowers is very enticing to them. They haven't had a tight end in a long time. They, like you said, need more blocking for Aaron Rodgers. And I think that guy he could be a generational talent. I mean, I liked him well before this draft. And honestly, I would love to see him in Jacksonville, but Jacksonville doesn't need him. So, to me, and if Jacksonville takes a tight end at any point in this draft, including the 7th round, we're going to have a live look in my draft room, and you're going to see me throwing some things that I don't care about breaking. So they do not need, they have Evan Engram, they got some other guys. So I would say I think there's a really good chance that we see Brock in New York or New Jersey. But I do think we see Brock there. I think that's going to happen.
I don't like my team having to tackle him twice a year.
Hey, man, that's the thing. I think they could go wide receiver, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go wide receiver, but I think they're going to be kicking themselves if they don't go with Bowers, if Bowers is still there, because there's a conversation of all the different places he can go to. He could go to Tennessee, and there's other things that can happen within those first few picks. I don't think there's too much of a concern. I think there's like one, maybe DN that could go in the top 10. I think there could be 3 quarterbacks, there could be 4 quarterbacks, there could be 5 quarterbacks. There could be Bowers at 7. The Falcons are a wild card of what they're going to do. They could end up going like Dallas Turner. They could go edge, and then Chicago's probably going to go wide receiver. So I think the Jets are going to have a very clear look outside of Tennessee at Brock Bowers, and I don't know if they pass on that. So that's what I'm kind of thinking for them. But with that being said, Mr. Lucas, the time went by like it was 3 minutes, and don't worry, because I will have you back on to talk NFL draft. And I know I went down for a few days to Florida with my mom, and we had a little mother-son like quality time getaway trip, but I will be coming back very soon. And you and I will you'll be the first thing that I plan, and you have my word on that, because I miss you, and I miss the girls, and I miss the family. So we will do that.
Yeah, get them discounts at SeaWorld now. Come on down.
Yeah, look at that. So yeah, we got to do that.
We'll be on roller coasters.
We're going to do that. We're going to have some fun, and it's always good to be around you, brother. So thank you for your time. Sorry it felt like 3 minutes, which is always good in radio and TV. If it feels like 3, then that means it's a good thing. If it feels like 45 minutes, that's not good. But I miss you. I love you, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Love you too, buddy. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Bye.
That coming from Jason Lucas here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora in the sports and entertainment world. Where sports, that it is Wednesday, so Dolphin time is 9 a.m. on Wednesdays, exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Nobody covers the Dolphins like we do in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership, and we typically at 9 o'clock, bring you our Dolphin Time, which is AD and DT, the first and third Wednesday of each month, and the second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, future Dolphins, and alumni. But today we had to flip the script and bring Bob on at the end of the show instead of the beginning of the show due to scheduling. So Mr. Beretta is going to be joining us here in just a moment to speak on the LeMoyne College Dolphins, their athletics director, the leader of the athletic department, with some words on some really great history in the making, which is the fact that 2 teams at LeMoyne had Division I experience. And those 2 teams that had the Division I experience have an opportunity this season to do some pretty special things, and that being LeMoyne women's lacrosse as well as LeMoyne baseball. And so Bob will be joining us momentarily to bring him in here, as we're going to bring him in picture in picture. So we're just awaiting Bob coming up here on our screen. And once Bob does, we will be discussing what's going on with LeMoyne. We appreciate you all for being with us here in central and upstate New York, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the world on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. So with that being said, we have Bob ready here to bring in with us picture in picture to speak on those 2 programs at LeMoyne that had the experience of Division I, and now they're back at it and back competing and doing some good things in their seasons. Bob's been on the road with these teams this year and very recently. So with that being said, Mr. Beretta, welcome to another edition of AD and DT.
Hey, Dan, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Bob, first and foremost, just looking at the spring and looking at where we are, we've seen successes in softball, and you and I got to be on site for that just a few days ago. We've seen successes with baseball, and you and I have got to be on site for that. We've seen successes with the lacrosse world, and of course, you were on the road recently here watching the women's lacrosse team, and even with the adversity that they've gone through, we've seen some really great moments. And I just had track on recently, and we got to speak about different things they're doing, you know, the positives in the golf world. What spring looked like in year 1 of D1 for LeMoyne?
Yeah, I think it's been a very interesting season, Dan, for us. You know, obviously our men's lacrosse team competing as an independent this year, a very difficult schedule, having played the number 1 team in the country at the time, the number 4 team in the country at the time, some other really highly talented teams. So there's been an adjustment period, which we expected there would be. And then next year we return to the NEC in terms of men's lacrosse. They'll sponsor the sport and we'll compete for an NEC championship in that sport and play predominantly a conference schedule, some non-conference games as well. But we have our senior day here tomorrow on the men's lacrosse side. One of only 2 home games this year on the schedule, so an opportunity to come out and see our men's lacrosse team tomorrow at 4. It's our senior day against Holy Cross, so chance to come out and wish 14 seniors the best as they wrap up their time here on the Heights, and we're looking forward to that. The women's lacrosse team, in their return to Division I, it's been a very representative season. They've qualified for the NEC tournament.
Yeah.
They will be either the 2 or the 3 seed, most likely the 3 seed, which means we'll host a game in the tournament here on Sunday at noon. The opponent to be determined. It looks like it'll either be Wagner or Merrimack, but a tremendous accomplishment in year 1 and the return to Division I to be able to come back and host an NEC tournament game and hopefully advance to the semifinals in the conference tournament if we get a win on Sunday. So that would be a tremendous accomplishment. The softball team, it has had its share of success this season as well. And we know they are in a rebuilding mode, and they are continuing this rebuilding period with Coach Roman, and we would have been in the same predicament whether we were Division II or Division I, but certainly now there's a lesser margin for error against these Division I programs. I think we've had some quality victories, some great series wins. We just knocked off Wagner, NEC series win over the weekend. We swept St. Peter's the week before. We had a nice win over a talented FDU team the week before that. Took a series from Merrimack on the road. So there's been some highlights. And today, in fact, softball team is playing up the road up at SU in a non-conference doubleheader at 2 o'clock up in the Syracuse home field. So really some good things there. And the softball team, what I've been so pleased is their spirit and their fight and their determination. And they're never out of games. They fight and scratch and claw. The game is 21 outs long, regardless when you play the Dolphins, and they're going to fight you for 21 outs. And I've been really heartened by, their resiliency and the ability to overcome some injuries. And they had some terrible injuries where we had two of our fifth-year players that both suffered year-ending injuries, which is heartbreaking. They came back, obviously, to complete a fifth year of studies, but also to play final year of softball. And we lost both players that were left fielders for us that came back, and Jill Dunn and Izzy Boudreau, unfortunately. But they've overcome some adversity and having a very representative season. And then, of course, the baseball team. The baseball team had a tough weekend on the road at Wagner, but still, I think 4 weekend series remaining. So that's still 12 games. I think that they're positioned to qualify for the NEC tournament. Top 6 teams there advanced to play down at what was formerly Dutchess Stadium, down at now it's the home of the Single A Yankees affiliate down in Dutchess County. So hopefully the team will finish strong and have an opportunity. And if that's the case, if baseball does qualify, I think by my count, 5 of the 8 teams that had the opportunities to earn their way into postseason NEC competition will have done so. And that's, I think, very impressive in year one overall.
Yeah, and it's been incredible. We've seen what men's soccer did. We've seen that women's soccer was on the cusp of going to the NEC tournament. And then from there to see the men's basketball team knock off FDU, who had some returners from that incredible run last year, and the assistant coach from last year being the head coach this year, and then seeing what we saw with women's basketball at LeMoyne, a 14-2 record, handing the top team that was 15-1 in the conference, Sacred Heart, the only loss that they had the whole season in the NEC of postseason and regular season, came at the hands of LeMoyne on the road at Sacred Heart. And then, seeing a 14-2 record, seeing a finish number 2 in the conference, going to the conference championship game. And then we look at swimming and diving and all the records that were set and broken and set and broke. There's so many things to be excited about. And you and I saw this coming. The coaches saw this coming. And I like speaking with some of the coaches, and they'll smirk and they'll look at you and go, "Oh, Dan, they might have not have known we were ready, but did you not know we were ready?" I'm like, "I knew we were ready." And they're like, "I knew we were ready." But you see the coaches having fun. You see the student athletes having fun. And the thing is, and I'm not saying this because of my connection to LeMoyne, you see other schools reclassify. And you see, schools that maybe were always Division I or have been Division I for a while that, are starting to kick up and do different things. But LeMoyne, comparative to schools that were trying to rise in Division I or switch conferences, or those that were reclassifying into Division I, this has been across the board. There hasn't been a bad season. There hasn't been from the fall to the spring, or fall to the winter to the spring. We have not seen teams that can't compete, that can't win big games. And I've talked to Linda about this before it happened, and I told her what I thought. I told you what I thought. And Bob, I'm happy to be here this morning thanks to the incredible work of student athletes, coaches, and staff, that I give them all the credit, but they proved us right.
Yeah, they have, and it's not a linear path. It's not to say that there hasn't been bumps and challenges along the way. There's going to be. There's not a linear line to the top. And that's what we're striving for, excellence in all of our athletic programs in our entire department. But, there's always bumps and restarts and steps backwards. And so you just deal with those things and you just keep moving forward. You keep your eyes on the goal. And we know that this goal is a long-term one, and it's to benefit the entire institution, not just the athletic department. And yeah, there's going to be some bumps along the way that we have to address and be nimble and agile and shift our mode of operations, maybe our mentality and things of that nature. But for the most part, I think in year one, our student athletes have done a marvelous job of being able to balance academics, which is our number one priority, obviously, and athletics, and being able to maintain those relationships in the classroom and with our coaches. So kudos to our student athletes, kudos to our head coaches. I think they've done a fantastic job in year one from the start, putting schedules together and then executing on those schedules, in some cases with the same staffing that they had a year ago. And that's, we're modestly staffed as a department, and that's going to be addressed throughout the course of this 5-year plan, but maybe we weren't able to address every need immediately. And so those coaches are having to take on some more responsibilities with maybe the same amount of staffing. So I'm really proud of the effort that they put forth, and our staff, our administrative staff too. We were able to bulk up in certain areas, but we are not real deep in terms of numbers. We're thin. And so we have people that are maybe doing the jobs of 2 and sometimes 3 others.
Yeah.
So I really want to give our folks a lot of credit for being able to pull this off right now. And we couldn't just wave a magic wand and go from 0 to 60 from a staffing perspective, from a scholarship perspective, from all the things where we want to be after 5 years. But I think we put together a very strategic plan. We looked at it very tactically, what made sense for LeMoyne fiscally, what made sense for our department culturally, where we needed to emphasize and where the strongest needs were immediately. And we've done that, and we continue to review that plan and make adjustments as necessary. But overall, I think it's been a highly successful year. And yeah, there's bumps. There's going to be bumps, but our job is to hopefully flatten those out and smooth it so that next year we don't hit those same potholes again.
Well, and it's a great foundation to build, and the foundation of year one in D1 doesn't come just this year. It comes from all these years in D2 where LeMoyne was not acting like they were below anything, and the quality of person, like you said, some people might be doing more than one job quantity wise, but quality wise, there's been a lot of great people on the heights, and that's not hard to see. So before we wrap up this edition of AD and DT, specifically on women's lacrosse and baseball, because these are the only 2 programs that had any D1 experience as a D1 program in their return. And I know you talked about them a little bit, but let's start with women's lacrosse. Liz Bevel, the student athletes and her staff. What have you seen from women's lacrosse specifically in their return to D1?
Yeah, no, I think, Liz obviously wasn't our head coach when we were Division I, but Liz brought a lot of Division I head coaching experience and coaching experience in her previous stops. So, she didn't come into this without a level of a measure of knowing exactly what to expect. I think she's been able to convey that really well. Our head coach, our assistant coach that we added, Riley Donahue, has been great. Obviously a standout player at SU and brings a tremendous amount of experience. So I think those 2 coaches have done a great job of kind of setting the expectations and trying to prepare our student athletes for what they were about to get into. I was out yesterday at Albany, and I watched our baseball team and our women's lacrosse team. They both played out there. So it was a nice trip. I was able to go out and support both teams, and ironically, both that we're talking about here. And she talked to the team afterwards and so, we lost, but she was really proud of their effort against a quality opponent and how they fought. We were up 5-4 at the half. And, we understand we have some shortcomings potentially in some of our areas that we need to shore up, and that'll be taken care of over time. And baseball had a win yesterday, not just a win against Albany, a program that historically has been one of the stronger teams in the America East, suffering some challenges this year, perhaps, but still a good win for our team on the road to go out to Albany and get a good midweek victory. And again, Coach Cassidy was our head coach when we were Division I, so he's got a great knowledge and working measure of experience at that level. But I think our players were ready for that challenge, and they knew that. I think baseball, they knew that there really wasn't a big difference between the high level of Division II and the mid-major, low-level Division I and the NEC that we're in right now. And I think that we'll see those teams, the baseball team, continue to advance here in the weeks to come with what's left of their NEC schedule.
Yeah, and seeing, that return and that excitement on that side of it, the uniqueness of LeMoyne becoming a fully fledged D1 institution, but having these 2 programs have that connection already, and seeing the fact that women's lacrosse, like you said, has qualified for the postseason, and we're looking at this baseball team and what they can do to qualify themselves and to make a push in the right direction. And that, to me, in their return, shows what I talked to, coaching staffs about at LeMoyne, is that they were not recruiting D2 talent. They were recruiting who they believe in the classroom and on the fields of life could play Division One, but they just so happen to come to LeMoyne. So, there's that. And Scott Cassidy and I talked about it repeatedly of like he told me from the jump, I'm looking for D1 guys. I'm not saying, okay, that's a D2 guy, you can come play for me. He's like, I'm looking for that talent to come play. And I know how competitive Liz is. And in the same respect, looking for that talent wherever she can find that talent that fit. So as we step forward here, Bob, what do you want us to know about what's coming up? We're here at the latter part of April. Hard to believe, but we're going to be hitting a year anniversary of the decision to go Division One. There will be some postseason. There's some hope of postseason for more. Just what you can say about the Heights right now and what you want the community to know in Syracuse and Central New York, as well as the community of alumni and people all over the world on what is currently the climate at LeMoyne here in late April.
Yeah, I think, really just thankful, grateful for the support that our community has provided our student athletes and coming out and attending our games and supporting in many different ways, whether that's following us on social media, through our Gold Wave funds, fundraising elements. But I think there's a lot to be excited about. And I think that keeping things in perspective, knowing that these processes take time and we're not at the end point right now. It's not where we want to be. We're going to continue to improve and advance the program in many different areas. And patience is key, that this is a long-term project. But to be very proud, I'd say to be very proud of our student athletes, to be very proud of our head coaches and administration and the administration here at LeMoyne College in terms of the support that they've provided us to be successful. And we're just scratching the surface. As I said, the trajectory is up. It may not be a linear line. There may be some bumps and some pauses, but our goal is to continue climbing. And I think the future here is very, very bright for the entire athletic program. We have fundraising elements in place to help support us from facility growth, which is really exciting. Not necessarily tied to the Division One transition, but because we were in need to stay relevant in that space. So whether it's staffing, whether it's scholarships, whether it's our facilities, we have a great growth plan in place. And my message to those that are watching and listening is be very proud of this institution and what we've taken on, and have patience. It's not always the result that we want today, but it's the result that we're shooting for in the future. And it's really not who we are today, it's who we can become. And our eyes are set on who we can become.
Yeah, and it's the thing that they say, things that come easily go just as easily, and nothing that's worth any value doesn't come without a lot of hard work, dedication, determination, blood, sweat, and tears that people don't get to see. And I appreciate the behind the scenes look that you and I have had for many years now to have the conversation about what's going on behind the scenes and to honor so many people that are working, and to thank the groundskeepers, to thank the people that are, out there no matter what the weather is, to thank everybody that's there for strength and conditioning and making sure nutrition wise that everyone's okay. There's so many elements of the student athlete world and the coaching world and the hours that people don't see. So I want to make sure to thank everybody that makes it just possible to be able to run a broadcast, to have the court ready, to have the pool ready, to have the fields ready, to do this, to everyone that's bussing around and helping the student athletes get to where they need to go, and everybody that is doing the ticketing and all that work that, like I said, is happening in silence and happening behind the scenes. So a big time shout out to everybody at LeMoyne, and a call for you, as Bob mentioned, to come out for the senior day and the opportunity to come and see. There's only been 2 home games, and this is the second one for men's lacrosse in their only independent season before joining the NEC next season. You could see them this Thursday, April 25th at 4 p.m. against Holy Cross at Ted Grant Field. So in the meantime, Bob, you get the final word here. Anything else you want to say before we say fins up? Anything you want us to know from the Heights as we step into the latter part of April into May?
No, I'd say just know that we're working hard here every day, and we're working hard to deliver a extraordinary experience for our student athletes. And Our goal is to continue to advance the program no matter what comes our way, and we'll continue to do that every day. And hopefully, our student athletes will be able to achieve at the highest levels of their potential. It's our job to put them in position to do that, provide them the resources, remove all the obstacles, and know that it's a very dynamic landscape, and we have to be prepared for movements and shifts, and sometimes adversity strikes. You just move on to the next, and you figure out a way to solve a problem. And that's kind of we're in that solution, creating solutions every day. And that's we have some more that we'll be walking up to later today.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great stuff coming up here with the LeMoyne College Dolphins. And there's a reason why the Dolphins have the most advanced brain next to the human being themselves, because of any animal you can back in the water or on land, back the one that has the strong mind to be able to handle all of that adversity and the things that come about. So shout out as always to the Heights, and Bob, as you know, fins up.
Fins up, Dan. Thanks for having me.
And I'll talk to you soon. That coming from Bob Beretta here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground. because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying. In the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a streetside cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Streetside Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We appreciate you being here with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We thank you for being a part of the show. And, of course, you could find Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Once the shows go live, you could hop into the archive and watch out for what we're going to be adding all throughout the year, including a couple pieces we'll be adding today to Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, as well as Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. So make sure you do that today, and we appreciate you for following us and subscribing to us on your favorite podcasting platform. A big time thanks to our wonderful partners. You can go and visit them in Central and Upstate New York by heading off to Carvel DeWitt. And today, and every Wednesday, is Buy One, Get One Sunday. So you can go and get the DT Dolphin. Coming off my conversation with Bob Beretta, the LeMoyne Dolphins athletics director, you can go and get the DT Dolphin, my LeMoyne-inspired Sunday, exclusively at Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like. Go and get my Sunday any day of the week. And on Wednesdays, Buy One, Get One, mint chocolate chip, green for the Dolphins, topped off with hot fudge, whipped cream, and a cherry, green and gold sprinkles, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of the whipped cream. That is there for you, and it's Buy One, Get One on Wednesdays, like today. The Wildcat Sports Pub, Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, GG Cards and Breaks, Avicoli's, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, and Mother's Cupboard. Mother's Cupboard is where you could get my sandwich 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. on 3709 James Street in Syracuse exclusively. My breakfast sandwich is only at Mother's Cupboard, and that breakfast sandwich is bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and eat it with syrup. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. It is something that you won't find anywhere else. My bacon, egg, and cheese with French toast as a sandwich, meeting all of your needs for sweet and savory when you just can't decide what you want. When you want some breakfast food, it's got it all. So get it at Mother's Cupboard 7 days a week. including today. The LeMoyne College Dolphins are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Find your Dolphins during Dolphin Time, Wednesdays at 9. Today we flipped the script and did it at the end of the show instead of the beginning, but Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, you'll find Dolphin Time, first and third Wednesday of each month with AD and DT, featuring Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and clicking subscribe and hit the notification bell. You'll find our LeMoyne playlist on our YouTube channel. You can also find the Dolphins by swimming over to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and on the exclusive partners tab as well on wakeupcalldt.com. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, and as always, fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You'll find your Bobcats in what we call Bobcat Buzz every single month on Wake Up Call. We got one coming up with the baseball team returning to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for another panel discussion. And you can find our Bobcat Buzz content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, clicking subscribe, hitting the notification bell, and you'll find our BSC Syracuse playlist on our YouTube channel. You also find the Bobcats by clawing your way to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage, as well as the exclusive partners tab. The Bobcats come to you every single month exclusively on Wake Up Call, and to find out when that's going to be, make sure to follow us on our social media so you don't miss another opportunity with the Bobcats. Go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com for more information, and go Bobcats. The Binghamton University Bearcats are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You will find the Bearcats every Tuesday during what we call Bearcat Time. And that Bearcat Time will be bringing you every single month our specials, which we title Moments with Marshall, featuring Athletics Director at Binghamton University, Gene Marshall, and the Bearcat Break Room, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration in the world of the Binghamton University Bearcats. Find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. And you can also find the Bearcats by, once again, clawing your way over to wakeupcalldt.com to the homepage as well as the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to bubearcats.com and go Bearcats. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, inside of Mon Paz, and you got to go inside Mon Paz today, 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, the snack capital of CNY. Head over to Mon Paz. Big time thanks for Mon Paz letting us know what's popping in our NFL draft coverage of Cole Burgess, the SUNY Cortland wide receiver, 2023 national champion, and prospect for the draft at that receiver position. Big time thanks to my guy in the sports and entertainment world, one of my best friends and brothers, Mr. Jason Lucas, talking on the draft and having that cool thing that we did at the end that him and I were not prepared for what the other person was going to say, where we just threw questions at each other on what we think is going to happen in the draft and gave each other scenarios. That was a lot of fun to go back and watch. And, of course, as always, to have one of the best people I know on the show, Mr. Bob Beretta, Athletics Director of LeMoyne College, joining me for another AD and DT, celebrating spring sports and talking about LeMoyne women's lacrosse and LeMoyne baseball's return to Division I, the fact that women's lacrosse is going to the postseason, and that the baseball team has an opportunity to go to the postseason, each in their first season in their return to Division I, as the only two programs at LeMoyne that had history as Division I programs. So big thanks to Cole, to Jason, to Bob, to you. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And guess what? Tonight we're making history because we're going to be at Heritage Hill North for the first time ever. Heritage Hill North has not even been open 2 weeks, and we're already going to be there. Heritage Hill North, 628 South Main Street in North Syracuse, right by the Applebee's that's there. We'll see you at Heritage Hill North tonight, right at that Sweetheart Corner area, down the road from CNS, with the CNS Boys Lacrosse team. I'll be there with North Stars head coach Chuck Wilbur and student athletes doing a live on-site broadcast. You'll be able to watch and listen around the world on all of our channels, youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. And for those of you that can make it out live, we look forward to seeing you tonight on-site, on location at Heritage Hill North, an extension of Heritage Hill Brewhouse and a new location for us here in Central New York. Come out to 628 South Main Street tonight to see the CNS North Stars boys lacrosse team in a spotlight special on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, featuring head coach Chuck Wilbur and the student athletes. The whole team is invited, the community is invited, and of course the families are invited to support their wonderful student athletes. We'll see you out tonight, Wednesday, April 24th, starting at 6:45 p.m. at Heritage Hill North, spotlighting Cicero North Syracuse and your North Stars. Find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And as always, God bless, no stress. Do your best. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll see you tonight.